All right, everyone, we have a self-hating white alert. Yes, indeed. Ed Krassenstein, of course, link in the description, archived, of course, will read his original tweet verbatim. Then we will discuss and analyze, which is what this channel is meant for. Ed Krassenstein, this was on December 28th. White people will one day no longer exist. It's just a matter of time. Who cares? Well, Ed, first and foremost, as a white person, I care. You're white-ish. You should probably care too, because the white people of the world have actually added a lot to the world. We get maligned all the time. The white European diaspora happened to develop the right technology at the right time to spread out across the world and begin colonizing things. They get maligned for this. We're considered imperialists, colonizers, we're evil racists, and all of these other things. Despite the fact that a lot of the people in that diaspora, when they entered, went to Botswana or, Uganda or something like that, they were trying to help. They were just trying to build infrastructure, make a localized economy. Yes, it was part of imperialism, but at the same time it benefited the locals as well. If you want to castigate some imperialistic race, you're going to have to focus on China, which I know that Ed Krassenstein would never do, because they're his fellow communists. They probably pay him at this point. That's the truth of it. Imperialism could be ugly at times. But the white race, the Caucasoid race, especially white straight men of whatever religion, usually Christian, in my case pagan, are the most maligned people in this entire world. Now, it used to be, back in the 19th century, it used to be mostly like the Negro trope. So the malignment mainly was aimed at black males more than anyone else. Oh, lazy and, Coontown and all of this bullshit. And it was never real. It was never true. And the idea was, well, you're an albatross around the neck of civilization. Many of those people have risen up and posted themselves as models of society. And we had a civic revival in the United States around the turn of the 20th century, in which we were trying to attain a semblance of unity. Was there discrimination? Yeah. There still is. Only now you've simply switched the skin colors of the people being discriminated against. I would note that Asians are also thrown in with this as well. Light-skinned Asians. They are labeled by the liberals, people like Ed Krassenstein, as the model minority. Well, you accept them because they work hard. Yes, if you have a work ethic, people tend to respect you. That's kind of the point. I don't see anything wrong with succeeding. I don't see anything wrong with the United States succeeding. I don't see anything wrong with Western civilization succeeding. And by the way, Ed, good goddamn luck eliminating the white race. It's not going anywhere. What happens with white people? We've seen it several times throughout recent history. White people tend to be on the decadent side because they built, post-industrial countries, and so they got decadent and cosmopolitan and so forth, and it can be a problem. You look at Amsterdam, for example. Great city. One of the only cities that's actually, livable. But it's got its own problems, mostly related to construction because of so many British people fucking moving in. You can't go a block without a construction crane at this point. That's a little bit odd, actually. While there is decadence, and there has been for several centuries, what happens when Caucasian groups are put under severe stress? They tend to lash out, and they tend to be very, very good at warfare. If anything, the Caucasian race, as a joint, is much better at warfare than any other group in the world, other than maybe the Vietnamese. The Vietnamese get a hall pass because they seem to just chop everyone that comes into their country to pieces. Doesn't matter where they're from. The Chinese, the United States, other than the French are the only ones that managed to conquer them, and that didn't last very long. The Vietnamese are bro tier. Can't wait to see Vietnam someday. when white people are put under severe levels of stress, we will deal with a lot. But when enough stress is applied, we will lash out. And then all of a sudden we've got combat helmets on and shit like that. You don't want that sort of situation, Ed. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. He's white. I mean, he's Krassenstein, so we'll leave it at that. I can't say anything more on a YouTube video. But he is light-skinned. He's white. He's effectively Caucasian. You're effectively, I don't know if you're simping, you know, maybe you've got a black girlfriend or black nationalist girlfriend or something like that, but you're effectively simping for the death of your own race. Well, can I ask a question to Ed Krassenstein? It's entirely rhetorical, we all know the answer. If you were to make this tweet, and you were to say, the black race will eventually disappear, nobody cares, who gives a hell, what would happen to your account? You are totally simping. I don't know whether you're being paid to post this or whether it's for some ethnic, sexually related purpose or something, maybe black boyfriend, I suppose, in your particular case. I don't know exactly why, but there is definitely a racial double standard that's being applied. The fact is the white race ain't going nowhere. There are 1 billion of us in this world, and we are far better at warfare, I will say, than most groups of people in the world. We've seen this throughout history. Imperialism in the colonial period is effectively the history of technological superiority. So when you're fighting a native tribe with more manpower, but you can fire 5 shots a minute and they can only fire 2, you tend to win. When you're fighting people that are using bark canoes, and you've got a man of war, you probably win against them too. This is just the way that it is. The Asians have the same superiority. Their cultures happen to technologically advance faster. I'm not boiling it down to racism or some ethnic proclivity or anything like that, but you seem to be fixated upon the subject. And I've noticed this with white liberals. These NIMBYists, they live in the middle, upper middle class, and they're white. They've got their NPR cups and their sweaters. And like Jimmy Carter, who we'll talk about later, they turn down their thermostat a couple of degrees and think that it'll prevent the planet from turning into Tatooine and bullshit like this. And they hate themselves. They have so much self-hate. And they project this upon everyone who looks and sounds like them. Their state culture, their ethnicity, their overall race. Things like this. Well, I'm not going to take part in that. I will defend the white race just the same as I'll defend every other. I don't want any race to disappear. I don't understand why you would take some sort of perverse joy in this. It must be self-hate. It must suck to be you. That's about all. Peace out.